So I wanted to do something different today. Yeah, I'm wearing my glasses. I didn't sleep well enough to wear contacts yet. Um, Yesterday afternoon became very difficult for me, and normally when that happens, I usually start reaching out to people and I try to rationalize, analyze, break down, overthink. Um, I decided against doing that yesterday. So I went internal, right? And it was a very tough night. I mean, my youngest decided to stay up most of the night and was waking me up all night. And then finally, I got out of bed at 4:30, like I normally do. Did my routine, which was tedious because I really just didn't feel like doing it, but I did it anyway. Um, it This morning started out rough too because it just carried over, right? It was just this uneasy craziness, right? Now, I did my morning routine. I fell back asleep for 25 minutes. I woke up and I was at peace. I don't think it had anything to do with the 25 minutes sleeping. I mean, it might have, but I don't think it did. Um, it was more about I did what I was supposed to do, right? I followed my routine no matter whether I felt like it or not. I pushed through even when I didn't want to. And I just was. I was just being. Um, I decided to just let it be and deal with it and process it and allow it to just be bad, right? Or tough. I mean, it wasn't bad, but like I talked about on my live last night, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was just a tough, challenging period, that 12 hours approximately. Um, but it didn't destroy my day yesterday. I had a great day yesterday. It's not affecting my day today because I'm having a great day today. It was just a period of self reflection that I had to go back and just reflect inward to be able to find my way through it, right? I really didn't attempt to reach out to anybody. I reached out to one person, but that's fine. I didn't really want to. I needed to push myself through it. And I knew that. So I just didn't reach out to anyone else. And I wanted to. I mean, I really wanted to, right? Because that's my go to is to reach out to others, to overanalyze it and break it down. But I didn't do that. I gave myself some credit and I gave myself some self compassion and I allowed myself to process. It's not easy, right? Like these things don't come natural to me. Um, they just don't. I mean, I've doubted myself my whole life. I've always second guessed myself. I've always questioned myself. So doing these things is just the opposite of what's ingrained into me, right? Being vulnerable is natural to me. Being real is natural to me. Being okay with crying, being okay, maybe not being okay with it, but doing it, it never really bothered me. Showing my emotions never bothered me. Uh, Now, did I always handle it the right way? Not really. Sometimes, I used to go into suffocate mode and then just spew my emotions everywhere, right? So I'm working on that as well, and I'm trying not to do that as much. Um, but what came out of this was one of the clearest, most concise conversations I think I've ever had in my life, and it was one of the hardest conversations. Um, it was one of the deepest conversations. It was a conversation that I knew I needed to have, but didn't fully want to have it yet. Um, but it happened, right? And it started. So I had it. Now, through this conversation, a lot came out of it, I think, for both people. Um, it's a tremendous amount of growth for me to be able to have that conversation, knowing that it hurts somebody else by having it. And it's someone that means more to me than anything outside of my kids and myself on this world during this life. Um, but it had to happen, right? It was truly from my truest point, my soul, and it had to come. It had to come to the surface. Um, Now, what comes out of that? who knows, right? It's at least clarity for a period of time. But when there's two sides to a conversation, you can't control both sides. You can only control your side of the narrative, your side of the conversation, and how you react to the other person's responses. Um, it was difficult. It was tough, but I feel at peace. I feel at peace with everything right this second. I feel like I'm happy. I'm just happy. And I'm very content with everything. And my kids are still cranky. There's still a lot going on. There's really nowhere to take them to get them outside, even though I want to. Monday they're going to be outside, and maybe Wednesday I'll take them somewhere else, or Thursday, depending on the rain. You never know here. The rain here is more confusing than Florida. But which I never thought I'd say either. There's just so many pieces to this and so many parts to this that line up. And there's so many things that are happening in my life right now that are just making sense. But I'm getting out of my own way and I'm just allowing. Um, there's, my biological family found me, right? Like, and this is something that up until December, I never wanted to look for because I was terrified. I didn't know what I'd find, right? And it scared the crap out of me. In December, I finally gave in a little bit, and then I got a little bit more comfortable with it. And as I'm going through this transition, I realized that it was something I had to do for me. And when my biological sister reached out to me, it scared the shit out of me. Like, it freaked me out. Like, do I do my typical run and hide? Do I just not answer? Or do I answer and open a door for who knows what, right? And I went with my instinct. I went with my intuition, which was to allow it to be. And I did. And it's this amazing, it's just this amazing thing, right? Like, I mean, they seem all like amazing people in their own right. And I'm glad to have that extension now, right? And over time, it can develop into, a very tight bond. And I'm looking forward to that. But I'm open to these opportunities today. I'm looking, I'm not necessarily looking, but because I'm working on myself and because I guess I'm changing in many ways, it's changing the opportunities around me. And the right opportunities are finding me without me having to fight for them, right? My whole life, I've fought for everything I want because I always thought that I had to go against the grain. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm not fighting anything. I'm just letting it be and accepting things for what they are for the most part. No matter how much some things hurt and some things stink and some things I'm not okay with, but I am letting it be. I'm accepting it. And by accepting it, it's allowing me to just be present, right? Like, I'm tired, I'm cranky, my kids are tired and cranky. There was just a lot of emotions flying around yesterday, and all four of us just had emotions flying everywhere. So, as an empath, I was absorbing a lot of it, and it really just overwhelmed me. And I almost went into shutdown mode, but I didn't, and I allowed it. I had a very detailed conversation with my son last night. First thing he did when he got up this morning was came and hugged me, right? So it's at the end of the day, it comes down to communication. And why I always said I was a bad communicator, I just think that I wasn't communicating my truth. I was halfway communicating my truth and halfway communicating what my truest self wanted. um, at this point, I'm communicating my truth, even if it's a painful truth, even if it hurts me, even if it's something I don't want to talk about. I'm still sharing my truth, and it's coming from my soul, and it's coming from my heart, and I'm coming across clearer, and I feel clearer with everything I'm doing. And this is the miracle of the work, I guess. And this is the miracle of being ready for the work. And this is the miracle of just finding my value and loving myself and giving myself the opportunity to let this work. Um, I think I'm going to end it there. I will be on again tonight, obviously, like every other night. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And chat with you later. As always, if you need anything, reach out.